Hi everyone, welcome back to another video, and if you're new here, hello, my name is Choua, and in this video, I am doing my Pan That Face palette and Pan That palette introduction. So in my previous video where I talked about the candidates for these projects, I think I introduced 5 candidates each, I believe, and I have narrowed it down to these products that I'm going to be talking about today. I have done a lot of thinking and reflection and also kind of considered a lot of things before I really finalized my decision. I'm introducing these 2 palettes together today, but when it comes to updates in the future, I'm going to be doing separate updates for the both of them so that I can really talk about the usage, the weight, and everything and not feel rushed. I'm going to talk about my Pan That Face palette first. For this palette, I read your comments and thank you all for who have commented and let me know what you thought and what you kind of voted on. It really did help me be able to refine my decision down to the palette I have in front of me. And I have decided to do kind of like build your own palette using my Ofra cheek products. And so this is the magnetic palette that I purchased online, and I decided to pull out the products themselves and put them into this palette. Overall, this is how the palette looks like. I have 4 products that I am going to be working on within the Pan That Face palette project. I have 2 bronzers, 1 blush, and 1 highlighter. The reason why I decided on 2 bronzers is because these are small pans and I do use quite a lot of bronzers, not only as a bronzer but also as an eyeshadow. So that's the reason why. And also I just don't like a very empty space in this palette, and it just, I don't know, it irks me. So I've decided to really roll in 2 blushes, not blushes, 2 bronzers instead of like a 2 highlights or 2 blushes, because I know those are gonna take forever to use up. So let's start with the first shade. This first shade is from my Miami palette, and this is in the shade Cafecito. This is a matte bronzer. It's very close to my Ciate Bamboo bronzer, if you recall it being in my Project Pan introduction. This is a very similar shade to it, and I have liked this in the past. I have used it in the past. Next is from my Ofra Face It Medium palette, and this is in the shade Pacifica. This is a shimmery bronzer, and I don't know if I'm gonna be able to use this up as much as my Cafecito bronzer, just because it does have kind of a shimmer or like a glow to it, and I don't necessarily go for that kind of look every single day. I do prefer matte bronzers, but this one looks very, very beautiful. I feel like I can really use this as like a bronzer topper, but like now that I'm swatching it, it does have a really beautiful sheen and glow to it. So I think this shade is gonna be really, really appropriate for the summertime. This is Cafecito right here, so it's a little bit lighter than Pacifica. So these 2 can work together if I want to really build it up on the cheeks and forehead, or I could use like the glowy one more on the forehead, perimeters of the face, and then use the matte one on the cheeks. Regardless, it's going to look beautiful. Next is the blush. This is from my, what is it? I forgot the palette name, but this is from my blush palette by Ofra, and this one is in the shade Coral Crush. This is very similar to my blush that I had rolled in my 2025 Project Pan that was in my Wonder Beauty Duo. This one is very similar. I feel like it might be a little bit darker than that blush. I could be wrong. I picked this shade because it's going to be one of those shades that I know is going to be safe throughout the entire year. I can use it with almost every single look, and I can travel with this shade. So that's the reason why I picked it. Call me boring for picking a shade that is very, very similar to my 2025 Wonder Beauty blush, but I really like this kind of shade. I think it's very flattering on my complexion, and so I'm not mad about it. Next is a highlighter. This is from the Miami palette, and this is in the shade Magic City. This highlighter I feel like is going to be a really appropriate one throughout the entire year, just because it's light enough to use as a highlight topper on the like inner corners, brow bone, or even like just right on top of the cheeks. I don't know, I just think it's so beautiful, and it's not as deep as the other highlighters in my collection, so I can use this throughout the entire year. This is also going to be my first powder highlighter that I'm going to pan throughout the entire year. I really do hope I can finish this up within an entire year. Who knows if that's going to be the case or whatnot, but I'm going to try my very darn best to really pan this all up. So this is my Pan That Face palette. Let me know what you think. I think this is going to be a really beautiful palette. I'm going to be reaching for quite a lot. And now that I think about it and having it swatched, I feel like it's going to be a beautiful one that I can use throughout the entire year. And it's going to complement a lot of my makeup looks, whether it's going to be super wild and dramatic or for more work appropriate makeup looks. Okay, next is my eyeshadow palette. I chose this one as the eyeshadow palette for 2026 because number one, of how long it's been in my collection. Number two, I also wanted a palette that I can travel with, use throughout the entire year, and see myself pairing every single shade. And so I have decided on my Tarte palette, Be You Naturally. This is how it looks like. This has 8 shades in it, and it's a really old eyeshadow palette in my collection. Probably one of my oldest eyeshadow palettes. And I want to use it all up before it's time to retire this palette. And when I say use it all up, I mean like hit pan, not use all of the shades up. If I can, I want to be able to hit pan in every single shade, and I am hoping and predicting that I can finish 3 of these shades by the end of the year. I don't know if it's realistic or not, but that is what I'm hoping and that is what I'm predicting. The other palettes, I decided that I can roll them into my no pan left behind kind of project and like rotation throughout the year, so I will be able to love on them that way. Versus this one, I do want to really use it all up because I will have to retire this eventually, and this still looks pretty untouched, if I'm gonna be completely honest. Let's go through every single shade, and I'm just going to swatch them with you. And I'm gonna go clockwise because this is a circular palette. I can't really be like, you know, from left to right or whatever. So it's gonna go clockwise, and I'm gonna start with this shade here named Sunbeam. And Sunbeam is a very beautiful shimmer. This one is going to be but it's kind of like a goldeny, coppery, yellowy sort of shimmer that is going to be gorgeous on the eyes. Do you see that? This looks so gorgeous. So that is Sunbeam. I feel like I'm gonna be able to use that a lot for my like work professional makeup looks, just because it looks flattering on the eyes enough for me to just use it on more of a natural day. I could make it more of a dramatic look too if I really wanted to, but I think it's going to be a gorgeous shade for work purposes. Next one is Explore, and this is a brown matte. And I do like a brown matte in my palettes because I tend to use it a lot on the eyes and use it as a liner. So this is how it looks like. My swatching is kind of whack. This is the brown matte. I really love how pigmented this still is, even though this palette is super old. Really still like this. Not really still like it. Like, can I not English today? I don't know. But this is going to be a really beautiful shade to darken up the eye look whenever I go into this palette. Next is a pink shade, and this is the shade Dusk. This shade, I feel like is going to be more of like a transition shade for me, or like on the crease, or just to brighten up the eyes a little bit more. It's not super pigmented if you like really compare it to the brown shade, but this is how it looks like. It's a very pale, almost skin tone like pink that I can use as a crease shade or a lid setting shade. Next is a shimmer, and this one is in the shade Earthy. This shade is going to be gorgeous to really top off my eye looks. I think this one is going to be a really well loved shimmer because just look at how gorgeous that is. Like it looks, oh my gosh, let me fix that shade, or swatch I should say. So this is how it looks like. I think it's going to be very complementary with like the other shades. And if I don't want to go in with this shade here because it might be too dark on some days, I can really reach for this shade here. And I think it's really gorgeous, honestly. Okay, next is another shimmer, and this one is shade Tropical. And this one is going to probably be the inner corner shade that I'm going to be using quite a lot because it's just very appropriate for that. Can you see? Let me just swatch it one more time. So this is how Tropical looks like. This is a really nice color for the inner corner. I can also use it right in the center of the lid if I really wanted to, but this is a really gorgeous one that I can use as a lid topper in a corner. I'm gonna thoroughly enjoy that shade for sure. Next is a matte shade, and this is in the shade Crystallize. This one might also be a lid setting shade. Oh no, not might. This is definitely a lid setting shade for me. This is also probably going to be like a inner corner brightener before I put on like a highlight or like a shimmer. This is how it looks like, Crystallize. It's a very skin toned, wow, I'm so awkward. This is a very skin tone kind of shade that I can use to really set the eyes before I go in with more colors. Next is another shimmer. This is the shade Glacier. This shade is more goldeny, like bright and goldeny. It's also a little bit more crumbly. So I'm definitely going to need to be very careful with this one because it's going to have a lot of fallout. But this is how it looks like. Oh my goodness gracious, child. Like, can you not swatch? Like, girl. Yeah, I don't know if you're going to be able to tell with the swatching, but it is a little chunkier. I'm probably going to need to use like eye primer or a eye glitter glue with this one because it is crumblier and it does have a lot of fallout. So this is how it looks like. I need to do better with my swatching and this lighting, like it's not serving. And lastly, this is a matte shade. This is in the shade Daybreak. And this is a tan brownie shade. Definitely not as dark as Explore, but it's going to be a really nice brown shade on the eyes. So this is how it looks like. Very beautiful. I love this color story. It is, again, very natural looking. So this is the palette. I hope this is a good palette for 2026. That is it for today's video. Let me know if you agree with the two palettes that I have picked out for these projects, and if you think I will do well with them this year. I'm excited to play with them throughout the year. I'm excited to see all the progress I'm going to be able to make within the year, regardless of whether or not I finish them all off or not. I will be happy if I just hit pan in every single one of these products. But yeah, let me know what you think in the comments down below. Like and subscribe if you haven't already, and I will see you in the next one. Bye!